Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's DAF Hayomi KIDDUSHIN DAF Ayin Zayin. We begin right on top at the Mishnah. Bas Cholol Zachar. So we have a Cholol. Cholol is a fellow born from a Kohen mismatch. For instance, a Kohen Hedyot, a regular Kohen marries a divorcee. Okay, so that child produced from this couple is a Cholol. So a Cholol goes on and marries somebody, which is okay. Marries a Israelis, for instance. So his child, his daughter, Bas Cholol Zachar, father is a Cholol, so daughter is disqualified from marrying a Kohen. Psula min hakahuna. Lo'elam. And this is perpetual, ongoing. Rashi explains, meaning this carries over to generation after generation after generation. So this Cholol's son, who had another son, right? And then a daughter, that daughter is still going to be puzzled from marrying a Kohen. Continues the Mishnah. What about Yisrael? A regular Jewish man, Shenasa Chalala. He married a female Chalala. Bituk Sher L'Kahuna. In this case, no problem. Because, in contrast to a Cholol affects his offspring, a Chalala does not. We will see in the Gemara. And the Gemara and the Mishnah now repeats again, Cholol Shenasa Bas Yisrael, but if a Cholol, a Kohen Cholol, marries a Bas Yisrael, of course it carries on to his offspring, Bituk Psula L'Kahuna, which is pretty much, sounds like a repetition. But the Gemara will go into that. So, according to Tanakama, a male Cholol affects his offspring to the extent that they become puzzled from marrying a Kohen, but not a Chalala. She does not affect her offspring. What about a Ger? A Ger should not be marrying a Kohen, right? What about the child of a Ger? Rabbi Yehuda puts it in the same boat as a Cholol. Rabbi Yehuda Bas Ger Zachar. You have a father who is a Ger. His daughter is treated exactly like a daughter of a Cholol. Kibas Cholol Zachar, who is puzzled from Kahuna. No, not to that extent. If any one of the parents is an ordinary Yisrael, then it doesn't matter, provided you have at least one parent. But if Yisrael Shenasa Geyer, so Yisrael Shenasa Geyeris, so only she's a Geyeris, but he's a non-Ger. So you have one parent who's an original Yisrael, Bituk Sher L'Kahuna, child's okay. V'ger Shenasa Bas Yisrael, or a Ger who married an ordinary Yisraelis, once again, Bituk Sher L'Kahuna. Aval, but if she has a Ger on both sides, both parents are Ger. Aval Ger Shenasa Geyeris, even Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov agrees, in this case, Bita is Psula min hakahuna, L'Kahuna. And the Mishnah continues, Echad Ger, Ve'echad Avad Mishachrar. This applies whether you're a Ger or an Eved who was freed, which is pretty much another version of a Ger. Afilu Ad Yudeiris, this carries on for generation after generation. Ad Shedhei Imam Yisrael, unless one parent, it says Imam, but the Mepharshim explain, any parent, if he's a Yisrael, then the child's okay with respect to marrying a Kohen. So according to Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov, it's only a Ger with a Geyeris who produces a daughter who may not marry a Kohen. Rabbi Yisrael disagrees even with that. I feel Ger Shenasa Geyeris still Bituk Sher L'Kahuna. Okay, so we discussed both things: child of a Cholol and the child of a Ger. Tanakama discussed a Cholol's daughter is puzzled from Kahuna, but a Chalalah's daughter is okay. What about a Ger's daughter? Rabbi Yehuda says, same story as Cholol. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov says, no, unless both parents are Gerim. And even there, Rabbi Yossi says it's okay. My lo'olam. Why does the Mishnah begin with the word lo'olam? Bas Cholol, Zachar is puzzled from Kahuna lo'olam. Once we know that a Cholol's child is puzzled, of course it's perpetual. Why mention lo'olam? Ma'od perhaps I would say no. There's a term limitation here. Just like a convert from Mitzrayim or Edom, which only carries over until the third generation, right? Just like over there, it's only ad until 3 doros. Afkan nami ad shleisha doros. So here as well, the chalal label only carries over until the grandson. Kamashmon, the chiddush is no. There's no limitation when it comes to the psul chalal. It goes on and on. Even his great grandchild has the same status. Yisrael shenasa chalala, but if it's not the father echalal, rather the mother echalala, married to an ordinary Yisrael, their child is fine. Minan, immediately, how do we know to make this distinction between the father being a chalal, which affects his offspring, and the mother being a chalala, which does not affect her offspring? Rabbi Yehuda, Mishum Rabbi Shimon or Rabbi Shmuel. This is the source. Nemar kan v'lechalal zari ba'amav. Pasuk warns Kohen Gadol against marrying an almana. Don't affect your children. Don't disqualify your children. V'nemar lahalon lo yitama ba'al ba'amav. And then when we have the Isra of a Kohen Gadol, of a Kohen becoming tamei, right? So it says ba'amav again. We have that connection. We make a gzera shava between ba'amav over there, which is specific to male kohanim. Only male kohanim must keep away from tumah, not females. Likewise over here, when it says leichalal zari ba'amav, it only applies to male kohanim. So the concept of chilul, of disqualification, only applies to the male kohanim. Ma lahalon, right? Zechorim v'lenikevos. Afkan here as well. Zechorim v'lenikevos. Asks the Gemara, okay, so then if there's no concept of chalal by nekevos, then elamiyata, if so, bita shel kohen gadol. What if a kohen gadol marries an almana? His daughter should be okay. There's no concept of becoming disqualified by a daughter. Tishtari, let her marry a kohen. No, miksiv b'nai. And the pasuk warns the kohen gadol, chalal zara, your offspring. Don't make them chalalim. It doesn't say your son. Zara iksiv, all your offspring. Right? So we learn from here, right? So we learn from here that all of the offspring become affected. Well, if that's the case, then bas b'nai tishtari. So once we say that, the Kohen Gadol's own daughter is going to become a chalola and pasal for marrying a Kohen, right? But when it comes to sort of the next generation, we limit it to Zecharim and not Nekevos. That's basically what we're holding right now. First generation, any child produced by Psuli Kahuna is considered a Chalal, whether he's a boy or she's a girl, doesn't matter. Right? Because it says Zari. But when it comes to the next generation, only a son, an offspring of a chalal male will be possible, but not by a chalala. Her child is okay because females are excluded. Well, then bas b'nai tishtari. What about the chalals? What about the kohen gadol who married the almana, right? So his son is a chalal. What about that chalal's daughter? She should be mutter because we're exempting the nekevos. Answers the Gemara. Ksiv leichalal zaroi. Pasuk says he should not be mechalal his offspring. And we make a connection because in this pasuk the pasuk alludes to his offspring zaroi, and it says zaroi, his offspring. So we're connecting his offspring to himself. Makish zaroi loy. The Torah connects this Kohen Gadol who marries the almana's offspring to the Kohen Gadol himself. Mahu bita psula. So just like the Kohen Gadol who did this Isser, his daughter becomes pasul, as we proved a minute ago. Af benoi bita psula. Right. So just like the original fellow, the first perpetuator, the violator, the Kohen Gadol, his daughter is chalala. Likewise, his son, we connect his son to himself. His son also has that ability that his daughter, the son's daughter, is also pasul. So you have to include her as well. Well, then bas b'te titzer. So then Why are we differentiating? Then the Kohen Gadol's daughter, who's a Chalola, her daughter as well should become Asur. And her son should be Asur. So then, what are we going to apply the Gzeir Shava to? The words Ba'amav, which tells you that it's limited to men and not women. So basically, we have an indication in the Torah that the psul does extend even into the female world, and then we have indications in the pasuk that it's limited. It's held back from affecting the females. So we draw this sort of compromise. And we say like this: Kohen Gadol who marries an almana, he affects the almana, the mechalal the almana, and he also affects his offspring, his zarei. So we say if it's a son, he's a chalal. If it's a daughter, chalal. Okay, so first generation, no question. What about the next generation? So we make that distinction. A chalala does not carry on to the next generation, but a chalal does. Chalal shenasa bas Yisrael b'tei psula. And the Mishnah sort of wraps it around again. A chalal married a bas Yisrael, his daughter's pasul, which is sort of a repetition. Hatana l'reisha, we already discussed that. That was the opening line of the Mishnah. Bas chalal zachar, a daughter of a chalal is pasul b'nakuna. Laila. So why the repetition? I did Hatana l'reisha. It's just sort of symmetrical. Since we went on and we said Yisrael shnasa chalala, the offspring is going to be kosher. Tani nami seifa. So we went back and we sort of wrapped it together in one package. Chalal shnasa bas Yisrael, the daughter is pasul likuna. So this Mishnah, Mas Nisan, which tells us that a male chalal who marries a Yisraelis, their child is pasul. Deloi karabedistoi ben Yehuda. It doesn't follow this shita, the Sanya, because according to him, the child is fine. Because the Jewish, the Israelis mother, sort of purifies the zera, and it no longer carries on to the next generation. Rabbi Yehuda ben Yehuda, Imer kashem shebnei Yisrael mikvah tahara lechalalais. Just like imagine if a ben Yisrael marries a chalala. We just learned the psukim. Chalala's deficiency does not get transferred to her offspring. So the husband is sort of a mikra for her, for the psul of the isha. He purifies it for her. The same in the reverse. Kach b'nois Yisrael, mikra tar l'chalalim. Chalal marries a bas Yisrael, she purifies him and the child is unaffected. My time, the Rabbi Yehuda, where does he get this from? Amakro le'ichalal zari ba'amav. The chilul only happens if it's ba'amav, which means ba'am echadu demeichel. If both parents are from the same nation, so to speak, the same club, the same group, on the same status, they're both chalalim. But b'shnei amim ina meichel. But if it's two separate types of people, even if he's a chalal but she's not, child's okay. Tan Rabbanan. We discussed the children. What about the isha who got involved with this fellow who she shouldn't have gotten involved with? He was a Kohen Gadol, she's an almana, right? It only affects the offspring. What about her, she herself? Does it now disqualify her from further marrying a kohen or eating truma? Does it make her a chalal? Yep. Amris kavachayim, we could present the kavachayim to substantiate that. If the child who did nothing wrong becomes a chalal, he sha'avra avera. Certainly the isha who did that avera, she violated. Of course, she gets affected. Well, that's not so simple. We can disprove that notion by looking at the man, the perpetuator of this violation. He did something terribly wrong. Does it affect his status? No. Well, can't compare. We never find that the man becomes a chalal, becomes disqualified, no matter what he does. As opposed to the isha, we find many situations. She marries a guy or whatever, she becomes mischalel. So it makes sense that even this situation, the Kohen Gadol be'almana, should affect her. Now, if you figure out a way to disprove my notion, my argument, I'll come with a pasuk, an alternate source. To this halacha, the isha becomes a chalala. Don't be mechalel. Don't destroy. What is that going on? So simply speaking, it's going on the zara, right? But lashon chalal alludes to something which was on the right track and got thrown off the track. Now his children were never on the right track. So apparently we're coming to include another point as well, the Isha, who until today was perfectly fine. She was not mana, but she was kasha. Chilul means destroying it, destroying something good. So this is a reference to the Isha as well. Now, why did we need this alternate pshat? What could you have argued against the earlier source? Because remember, the Kavachayim was that if the child did nothing wrong, he gets affected. Certainly the Isha gets affected, right? Then we said, well, she's easily affected. She's susceptible to this type of chilul. So that, so then we said the man disproves this notion because he did Naver and he doesn't get affected. Well, it's very different. She's susceptible to being affected, etc. What could you have said to counter that argument? Perhaps you'll say that will refute the entire basis for this kavachem. You can't prove from this fellow's child just because he's a chalal doesn't mean much, because he was initially created through violation, through Isser. But what does that have to do with the Isha, who was perfectly fine until today? So who says she's affected by this interaction? Amakra, that's why we have the pasuk, leichalal zaray, which we apply to the Isha, leichalal zeh. It's going on the woman shahaya kashev and ischal, which was fine. She was okay, and then she got thrown off. So the pasuk is including the Isha as well. She becomes a chalal. Turn it up on. How do we define chalal? How does that work? Eizahi chalala. What makes a chalala? Kol shel nolda min apsulim. She was born from some sort of psula. My psulim, what exactly? Ilim psulim loy. Any isha who's unfit for this man, so this interaction will create a chalala. Harei machzor grishase. Says the Gemara, it's not universally true, because there's a case called machzor grishase. A person remarries his wife after she had been remarried, which is certainly not okay, the psula loy, but it still doesn't affect the children. Ubenei aksherim, the pasuk says, Toyeva he, she's a domination. He toyeva, it's only the isha who you shouldn't be involved with, but ultimately the child is not affected. The child doesn't get stigmatized by this experience. So what does the Brisa mean? That any sort of puzzle creates a chalala. Amar vidachi kami means like this. Ezei chalala. What is that? Kosher nolda min psul kahuna. Oh, so any sort of kahuna mismatch creates a chalal. Asks the Gemara, nolda in. Only somebody was born from that experience. Loy nolda loy, but without being born out of this experience, there's no chalala. Really? Hari almana, ugrusha, zayna. All these women, the loy nolda. They weren't born with anything wrong. And still, once they get involved with a kohen, she becomes a chalala. Like we said before, the experience affects the isha as well. So how could you say it's birth dependent? Amar Rabba, no, the Brisa means like this. What's your simple, standard, typical case of chalala, which doesn't need further elaboration? What's the classic case? Amar Rabba, chikamar, ezu chalala muskeres. What's the chalala that's classic in the Torah? Shlo yoyel shasa kosher klal, which never had a moment of kashrus. What is that? Somebody was born out of a psul kuna. So there's no question about the chalala label in that case. My muskeres, what did the Rabbi mean? A chalala which is muskeres. What does that muskeres mention? Amar Vitzel bar Abba Nachakam, he means like this. A clear cut almana without question. Ezei chalala sheikara b'direi Torah. Give me an example of the classic, chalala which is clearly rooted in the pasuk, without any need to go elaborate and explain. What is that? That's your classic case. Kol shenolda mimsilikun. Turn it up on it. Almana, almana, almana. So, if you look in the psukim, we find the word almana mentioned 3 times. What for? I'm sorry. Sorry. Almana, almana, almana. The Brisa discusses a case where a kind gadol got involved with an almana, almana, almana. We'll see in a minute what that means. There's sort of 3 aspects of almana. Ein chayiv al achas. You should know that he only gets one malchus. Only chayiv one time. Same thing with a grusha. Right? If she is considered a divorcee 3 times over, right? She was divorced 3 times. Ein chayiv al achas. He only gets one malchus. But an amana, ugrusha isha, who has all this history, she's a widow, she's a divorcee, v'chalola, she's a chalola as well, and zaina, to top it off, she interacted with improperly with people. So each one independently is really an isra on its own, right? Kohen is not allowed to marry any of these women if they're separate women. Certainly when they're bundled together in one person. Question: how many times does he get malchus? So it depends. Depends on what order she earned all these, degrees. Because the man Shem can say there, if it's in this order, first she was an almana, and then she became a grusha, then she became a chalola, then she became a zayna, chayiv kol achas v'achas. That generates a separate violation, a separate malchus for each story. But if it went the other way, zinsa, and then she became a chalola, and then she became nisgasha, and then she became almana, right? So it happened the other way around. Zilsa, v'nis chalola, v'nis gasha, v'nis amrla. In that case, ein chayiv l'achas is only one chiyuv, and we're going to see later why. Let's go back to the beginning of the brayso. We had that triple almana, and the chayiv l'achas only generates one malchus. What happened here? Hay almana hechidami. What type of almana are we speaking about? Ilay mishabal almanas Reuven, val almanas Shimon, val almanas Levi. This same kohen got involved with 3 separate widows, Reuven's, Shimon's, and Levi's. 3 separate people. Amay in chayiv l'achas. So why is he only liable to one malchus? 3 separate isurim, 3 separate individuals, 3 separate stories. Hari gufan mechulakim. 3 separate people. Hari shemas mechalakim, 3 separate, stories. Ella rather was speaking Shaba al almana achas shalosh piyos. No, she was one person, one almana, and he interacted with her as married 3 times. So why would he only get one malchus? 3 separate violations. Hechidami, what exactly happened? Was he warned? Was he warned separately? Was he not? Either way, Ashrubei, if he was never warned separately for each interaction, Pshita, of course, it's obvious. Einu chayiv al achas, he only gets one malchus. El the Ashrubei. Must be that he was one separately per experience. So then why? Amai einu chayiv al achas. Why only give him one malchus? Give him 4 3 times. It's not. You have either nazir, right? He's sitting all day long drinking wine. Not allowed to drink wine, but still einu chayiv al achas because he was only warned once. One violation. Amrullah, they warned him for every separate drink. Al tishta, don't drink. Al tishta, and he's ignoring. He drinks. Who shows chayiv kol achas v'achas. Separate malchus per story. Here as well. Answers the Gemara, Yitzricha must be speaking Shaba al almanas Reuven. This kind of gadol got involved with the same almana, but she has a long history. She had been married to Reuven, widowed. Shoyis almanas Shimon, married to Shimon, widowed. Shoyis almanas Levi, married to Levi, widowed. And that the Brisa says is only one malchus. Ma'odatema, perhaps I would say Harashemas muchalakim. It's like sort of 3 separate labels. Reuven's almana, Shimon's almana, right? Kamashman the chiddush is no. Gufa mechulakim b'inam v'leka. In order to generate a separate malchus, you need separate experiences, separate people, separate individuals. It's one person, only one malchus. And the Brisa continues. Almana, ugrusha, v'chalol zayna. She happens to have all those labels. If it was done in this order, each one generates a separate malchus. Now, why? Hai Tana Makasavar. Which opinion did our Tana follow? Ikasavar Isra Chal al Isra. Are we going to Shitas Rabbanan? Well, that, you can sort of level one Isra on top of the other. So then, who cares which order it happened? If Chanami, so even if it went the other way around, fact is, she's now labeled as a Halal or a Zayn. She has all the old reasons for Isra, separate Isurim. I feel if Chanami, Vikasavar Isra Chal al Isra. So maybe we're going to Shitas Rab Shimon. Well, that typically you cannot pile up Isurim. Once something is, is Asr, it's like fully saturated with Isra. You can't add to it. So then, who cares if it's in the right order? I feel you can say there's a Nami. Even if it's this order, Nami loy, don't add more Isurim. Rava says like this. Hai Tana, our Brisa holds like this. Isur Chalal Isur Leslie. Typically, you can't add another Isur on top of the other. Okay? But there are some exceptions. If the second Isur is enhanced, is expanding the Isur, is expanding the territory of the Isur, so that must be reckoned with, and that second Isra now has sort of a foothold and must be reckoned with. Isra Moisev Isli. The second Isra adds another element of Isra. over the first one. So now we apply both the Isurim. And the Gemara explains, and we'll explain why this rationale only applies if it was done in this order. Okay, so first issue is an almana, a widow. A very basic Isur, very limited Isur, not a very wide-ranging Isur, who keeps away from an almana, Asur l'kain gadol, right? She's still mutar v'shari l'kain hedit. So it's a very limited Isur. Next story, she was a divorcee. Havi l'grusha. So once she becomes a grusha, that expands the horizons. It expands the Isur, migu, since the toisav l'isura, since it adds another layer of Isur, expands it with respect to whom? The Gabi Kohen Hedid. The ordinary Kohen must keep away from her now as well. So because the second Isser is farther reaching than the first Isser, it takes hold. It even takes hold with respect to a Kohen Gadol. He's now dealing with double Isser. It affects him as well because the Isser sort of found a foothold in the Isha. So now he has to deal with two issues. But it's still relatively limited. It's not all-encompassing. She can still have teruma. Even an almana or grusha could have teruma. She's a kohen. But once she turns into chalala, havila chalala, what happens then? It obliterates. It cancels her teruma eating privileges as well. So here we go. We have another expansion. Since it brings that Isser into the fold, so it's considered another element of Isser for the Kohen Gadol as well. Question is, but what about the fourth stage? She became a Zaina. What exactly did that add to her with respect to Kahuna? Both the Kohen Gadol and Kohen Hedid had to keep away from her due to the fact that she was A, an Almana, and B, a Grusha, and thirdly, a Challah. She's done with Kehanim. So just because she turns into a Zaina, it should not have any ramifications on the Kehanim. Amar Rav Chana Bar Katina, it does. You know why? It extends her Isser a bit more too. Hoil v'shem znus, the concept of znus, of straying, a married woman who strays from her husband, place will be Yisrael. It affects even a husband who's a Yisrael. So conceptually, we see that the Shem znus has a farther reaching effect than all those other labels. It affects even a Yisrael husband, something which, Amana, Grusha, Chalal don't. So since it has the ability to expand beyond the Kahuna horizons, so it's a factor to reckon with. It sort of lands on her. It must be reckoned with. And now the Kohen who gets involved with her has to deal with this Isra as well. Tani Kamed Rav Sheshus. So this Chacham presented a brayso to Rav Sheshus. Kol shel b'yikach. Harayu b'lo yikach. Pasuk says that Kohen Gadol, who should he marry? Ki im besula miyamav yikach isha. Should be lekeach. Should marry a besula miyamav, a besula, proper besula. Right. Then the pasuk says, but don't marry lo yikach, the almana, the grush, the chalal, the zayin, right? So it's sort of two sides of the same coin. If an isha is theoretically eligible for marrying a kohen gadol, then in the event that she's an almana, he has to keep away. Kol shu b'yikach, hari b'lo yikach. You have the potential for yes, then you have the potential for no. Kol she'ena b'yikach, but there's no potential for yes. You can't marry this isha regardless. Eina b'lo yikach, and there's no isra of almana, the Kohen Gadol in this case. What does this mean? What case are we excluding? Prat le Kohen Gadol shabal achayse almana. So a Kohen Gadol got involved with her sister in almana. Sure, she's an almana, but we don't count it. Why? Because there's no potential for marriage between the two. Amarle, so Rav Shesh's response to this Chacham, who presented this halacha, that potential for marriage is sort of a prerequisite for the Isra almana. The Amalach Mani, the one who told you this halacha, whose shita is he following? Reb Shimon. Shimon says you can't add an isra on top of an isra. The Amar ain't isra. You can't add another isra on a pre-existing isra. Ain't isra chalal isra. So once the sister was asr because she's a sister, a kares, so there's no isra of almana. The Sani Reb Shimon Imagine a person that eats an avela, that animal in Yom Kippur. So he committed two isurim. eating Yom Kippur and eating an Avela. Eating Yom Kippur is a very severe Isser, Karis, and Avela is Lav. Rabbi Shimon says he's Patur from, let's say, if it was an Avela before Yom Kippur, so that sort of preempted the Isser Yom Kippur from landing, and he only gets the Lav. Patur. So according to Rabbi Shimon, Ein Isser Chalal Isser. You can't add Isser on top of an Isser. And that explains why the Kohen Gadol with the sister will not have the Isser Almana, because she's already a pre-existing Isser of Karas. And the Gemara continues. Rav Sheshes was speaking to this Chacham, the Rabbanon, because according to the Rabbanon, Amri Isser Chalal Isser. According to them, you can add a double layer of Isser. Answers the Gemara, no. Afilu Tem Rabbanon. This halacha, this statement, with respect to the Isser Almana not being applied to the sister, you know what? It can follow even Shittas Rabbanon, who typically say you can add a double layer of Isser. You know why? You know what the difference is? Ki Amri Rabbanon. Rabbanon only say that Isser Chal Isser. That's only Hanamili Isser Chamor Al Isser Kal. If you want to take a severe Isser like Yom Kippur, eating Yom Kippur and sort of tack it onto a lighter Isser Nevela, that works. So you can ride one on the other. Aval Isser Kal Al Isser Chamor Lechayil. We'll all agree. Even the Rabbanon would agree. You can't take a less severe Isser and sort of tack it onto a more severe Isser. It's fully saturated. It's done. Yom Kippur could land on Nevela, but Isser Almana Kohen Gadol, which is a relatively lighter Isser, cannot land on Isser Karas or Achos. Ikadami, there's another version of this back and forth. Hamani Rabbanani. Rav Sheshes responded, you're going with the Rabbanon. The Amri Isser Chalal Isser. Typically you can make a double-decker Isser, but it's limited to only a case where the second one is more severe. When do they apply it? Hanamili Isser Chamar, Isser Kal, like Yom Kippur over Nevela. Aval Isser Kal, but Isser Kal like a Almana, Al Isser Chamar, a more severe Isser like Achaisa, like Chal, it doesn't work. So when you said that there's no Isser Almana by sister, you're going with the Rabbanon, you're just highlighting this point, right? The Rab Shimon, according to Rab Shimon, it wouldn't work. Hash to Isser Chamar, Isser Kal, Lechayil. According to him, even a Chamar doesn't work on a Kal. Isser Kal, certainly an Isser Kal like Almana, Al Isser Chamar, but certainly goes without saying, it's obvious that it can't land on the Isser Karas of Achaysai, so there's no point of even discussing it. You must have been following the Rabbanon, that's why he made that point. Ma'odetayim, no, says the Gemara. This must be presented even according to Rab Shimon. Because although typically Isser is not Halal Isser, but maybe Isser Kahuna Shani, we're speaking about Isserim that are exclusive, unique to Kahuna. So maybe that's different, they have higher standards, and yeah, here you can make a double layer Isser. Kamashman comes the Tana and says, no, even according to Reb Shimon, even by Kahuna it doesn't work. So bottom line, Kohen Gadol Shabal Achaysai, Almana, there's no Isser Almana, whether it's going according to the Rabbanon or according to Reb Shimon, either way, Allah holds true. Amalei Rapapa Labai. Israel, now we're going to Israel. Habal Achaysai, interacts with his sister as married. Zaina Mashvila, he turns her into a Zaina, which happens when a woman interacts with a man inappropriately. Chalala Mashvila. Oh, so Zaina we know for sure, that's a given. Question, Chalala Mashvila? What about the next point? Does he turn her into Chalala? Which is also something that affects the Isha when she... that's the label given to the Isha who interacts inappropriately, as we mentioned before in Amar Aleph, right? Like Chalal Zari, going on the Isha as well. So what happens in this case when Yisrael with his sister? A Zaina, of course she is. What about a Chalala? Chalala Mashvila, Oilay Mashvila? Yes or no? What does this depend on? Miyamina, shall we say? We know for a fact that a Grusha marries a Kayin Hedit, she becomes a Chalala, right? Then when become a Chaymer, Mechayav Elavin, Havi Chalala. If we know that even an Issa, which is merely a lav, can create a Chalala, Mechayav Krisla Koshkan, of course, a sister, which is a Karas, of course it makes her a Chalala. Idilma, that's one side. On the other side, you can say, Ein Chalala, Misr Kuna. Chalala is very a defined term. Isr Kuna makes Chalala. But Yisrael with Achaisa, as severe as it is, it doesn't create a Chalala. Amar Lei, Abai responds, yep, Ein Chalala Elim Isr Kuna Bilvad. It's unique to Isr Kuna. Amar Rabba Menal Milsa. How do we in fact know this? This point, Ein Chalala Elim Isr Kuna. But unless there's Isr Kuna involved, the result is not going to be a halal. The sanya. Lo yoyma grusha b'kohen gadol. You know, the pasuk repeats all these isurim mentioned by the kohen hedyot. Don't marry a grusha, right? All these things we mentioned by the kohen gadol as well. Now, what's the point? Don't mention by the kohen gadol. We know that every kohen gadol was first a kohen hedyot, right? He was upgraded to a kohen gadol. So leave it out by the kohen gadol. We know v'teisi b'kavachayim kohen hedyot. We learn through kavachayim. But I mean, we'll say hash to the kohen hedyot asur. If we know that a halal, a zoyin, a grusha cannot marry an ordinary kohen, the kohen gadol, boy, it's pretty obvious that you can't marry a kohen gadol. So why? Lama number. Why does the Torah have to repeat it? To teach you as follows: Kashem shechaluka grusha mizoyin v'chalal kohen hedyot. Just like by the kohen hedyot, if the isha had all these labels, she was also a grusha, also a zoyna, also halala. Like we said before, there are separate isurim per situation. He gets malchus over and over again, and that applies to a kohen hedyot. Kach chaluka b'kohen gadol. Likewise, by kohen gadol, we split the isurim. Basically, if the isha has many labels, it's considered a repeated offender, and he gets all those malchus. So that's the point of specifying these terms and these cases by the kohen gadol as well, to highlight this point. Well, of course, why would a kohen gadol be different than kohen hedyot? Pshita migur gara, he's worse than a kohen hedyot. Ella, rather, it's like this. The reason for repetition is kashem shechaluka grusha mizayna v'chalala b'kohen hedyot. Just like we say that by the kohen hedyot, when she's a grusha and a zoin and a halala, there are separate violations per case and separate malchus. Kach almana, likewise. When we discuss a kohen gadol has an additional restriction. It can't marry an almana, right? So the almana status will also be dealt with similar to the other statuses, the other labels. Separate malchus for the almana. Kach almana, chaluka, grusha, it's separate from the grusha, v'chalala, zoina, b'kohen gadol. So this is something we can't learn from the kohen hedyot. The isurim that pertain to a kohen hedyot are considered separate and treated independently. But the shem isur almana is unique to the kohen gadol. How do we know that's treated the same way? That's why we need a special pasuk. Okay, let's move on. What about chalala? Chalala lama nemra. I understand why the pasuk has to repeat the almana, but why chalala? So Rashi explains that the Gemara now will focus on the fact that the word chalala was written after almana grusha. Right? If you look at the pasuk, Vayikach Chav Aleph Yudalad, it says almana ugrusha v'chalala zoyin. It doesn't say zoyin v'chalala. Chalala and then Zaina. So why this change of order? To tell you that unlike Znus, which is a concept which applies even to Yisrael, Shem Znus, like we said before, affects even a Yisrael husband. Chalala is stated before Zaina to indicate that it's a separate realm. It's exclusive to Kahuna. Chalala, remember, in Chalala Isra Kahuna. Only when there's a Isra Kahuna taking place, that produces a Chalala. And that proves our point. A Yisrael got involved with a Chaysay, she's not a Chalala, because it's not unique to Kahuna. Zoyna lam nemra. Now why does the pasuk say the word Zoyna here again? Nemra Zoyna lam. Nemra kan Zoyna, Nemra lahal Zoyna. So we're making Xer Shava. It says the word Zoyna over here, and says the word Zoyna by kohen hedyot. Okay, Makan Zare Chulin, just like by the kohen gadol, his child becomes Chulin, meaning disqualified. Pasuk says Chalal Zare Ba'amav. That's a special pasuk by kohen gadol. Af lahal Zare Chulin. We learn from here that a kohen hedyot as well, if he gets involved with an inappropriate issue, who is disqualified or unfit for him, the child is Chulin, becomes a Chalal. So basically, this pasuk now teaches us many things. In fact, the Torah repeats Amon Grusha again by the Kohen Gadol. It teaches us that there are separate Isurim dealt with separately. Halala, to tell you, Halala is only Isur Kahuna. Zaina, to make that connection to Kohen Hedid, just like the Kohen Gadol's offspring is a Halal, likewise, the Kohen Hedid's offspring. Amar Rashi, Hilkach, if so, Kohen Gadol Abala Chayse. Imagine a Kohen Gadol interacts with his sister as married. Sorry, Kohen Abala Chayse. Rashi says, anyway, any Kohen. Kohen Gadol or Kohen Hedid gets involved with a Chayse, his sister who's now unmarried, single. So what happens? Zoyna Mashvila. So, at this point, she becomes a Zoyla. Right? Because she got involved with she was Nivala L'Pasala. She got involved physically with a person who's going to make her apostle. It's a Bilas Nus. But Chalala Mashvila. Listen to this. She does not become a Chalala at this point. Like we said before, because this experience was not uniquely a Kahuna experience. It wasn't an Isser Kahuna. Sister, that's Asr to anybody. So yeah, she becomes a Zaina, but not a Chalala. But now, Chazar Ba'aleh, suppose the Kohen repeated the same thing again with her. Asa Chalala. Because now, we're dealing with Isser Kahuna, because a Kohen may not marry a Zaina. So any Kohen, whether it's him or anybody else, approaches her, that interaction is now specific to Kahuna. He violated the Isser of a Kohen engaging a Zaina. So now, she gets another label. She becomes a Halal. Interesting. Okay, to be continued by Hashem tomorrow. In the meantime, we have a Mishnah that the Chalal's daughter is passed from Kahuna, whether it's his own daughter, whether it's his grandson, son's daughter. That child is passed from Kahuna. And the Gemara explains that any child produced from an Isser Kahuna, right? We explained at the end of it, it's only from Isser Kahuna. That child, whether it's a son or daughter, are considered psulim, considered chalalim. But the difference is like this: the daughter now, the chalala who goes and marries a Yisrael, their children are fine. Whereas the son who marries a Yisraelis, his children are not fine. They're chalalim. Rabbi Yehuda says no. As long as one of the parents are not halalim, the children are okay. And what about a ger? Rabbi Yehuda says a ger is the same status as a chal. His child is possible from kuna. Rabbi Yaakov says no, provided both parents are gerim, otherwise you're okay. We discussed how at times isser can be chal al isser. Right? So we know there's machlekes whether you can add another layer of isser on a pre-existing isser. Some say you could, some say you can't. But even if you typically can't, but if it's Isser Moisef, says Rav, that's different. When the second Isser is sort of expanding the Isser, then it sort of gets a foothold and must be reckoned with, according to all Shittas. We concluded with the definitions of Zaina and Chalala, from which a Kohen has to keep away. All the best to you and Hatzlacha Rabbah.